So, Kevin, to kick this one to you, what sort of statement do you think Tampa sent to the NFC with the way that they beat the Eagles 31-15?
Well, I think that they put the remainder of the NFC on notice to say, like, you know what, we've been struggling. You know what, we have injuries, but we're finding a way to get it done. The Eagles were fully healthy with no, what's the word I'm looking for? No COVID players. Everybody was active and ready to go outside of Josh Sweat, who apparently had a life-threatening procedure yesterday. So, hopefully he's okay in terms of like his health. But yeah, man, the Buccaneers found a way to dominate and dominate early. I know that the Eagles sacked Tom Brady, I believe, what was it, 5 times, I believe? 4 times they were able to get back to Brady, but consistent pressure from Barnett, Fletcher Cox, and the rest of those boys. So, I mean, the defense is trying to find a way to keep them in. It was just a matter of, was that offense going to be able to put up enough points to try to keep up with Tampa's offense? And it wasn't. Tampa's defense relatively pitched a good shutout outside of, like what Kyle said, outside of some garbage time touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But listen, man, Tom Brady's 44 years old. Tom Brady is out here leading a team as if he was in his late 20s, early 30s. Tom Brady is playing great football as if he was back in New England 20 years ago. It's honestly insane that at his age, he is playing at such a high caliber, high intense level. And with the injuries that this team has sustained, you would figure there would be some lull, some form of a hiccup in certain places. And granted, there was some miscommunications in some passes, especially between Tyler Johnson and Brady early on, but they found a way to right the ship, pun intended, Buccaneers, Pirates, haha, and kind of move on and go forward from that. And I think that shows volumes with the coaching staff. I think that shows volumes with how much they trust Tom. And the Eagles just couldn't get it done. Kyle and I made the prediction. If Jalen Hurts is going to be relied upon to throw the ball plus 30 plus times, it historically and statistically, it does not bode well for Philadelphia. The play calling was atrocious from Nick Sirianni, all the bubble screens and not utilizing Devontae Smith. I think that Jalen had some bad reads, especially that interception before the half where he threw it to Edwards and Devontae Smith was kind of open, literally in the corner of the end zone. But Jalen's got to develop, man. If anything, if this showed me anything with Philadelphia, is that I cannot trust Jalen Hurts go forward in terms of being a consistent day one starter for next year. There should be some competition going into camp. But in terms of back to the Tampa Bay side, this showed the NFC, like I said, that they're still the defending champs. They're still here. And I mean, God, when this game happens of the winner with the Rams and the winner of the Rams and the Cardinals game, it's going to be one hell of a game because Tampa's offense was just on another level today. And that defense was really, really able to get to the backfield of Jalen Hurts, was able to keep the hottest run team in the NFL secured and locked down for the majority of this game outside of one big run from Boston Scott. So I would say they're not the greatest team in the league right now. They're not the hottest team in the NFC, but the narrative of them being a little bit shaky, maybe not being able to take care of business, I believe that is starting to dwindle away because of how quickly they were able to handle Philadelphia as fast as they were.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest takeaway from me with this Bucks win over the Eagles was just how good their defense was early on. Because the way that I see it, Tampa's defense was able to own the line of scrimmage really throughout the first 3 quarters of the game. It just seemed like the Eagles offense could not get anything going. You could blame that on play calling to a certain extent if you want to, but you got to give a lot of credit to Tampa's defensive unit just showing up and being able to make life uncomfortable for Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Devontae Smith, and the rest of Philly's offensive personnel throughout the entire first half and large stretches of the second half as well. And that to me is a big key moving forward because we always got to focus on the Tom Brady aspect when we get to the playoffs, whenever he's around on whether it's the Buccaneers or the Patriots. But if this defense can play inspired football moving forward like they did against the Eagles in the wild card round, it bodes well for Tampa in a big way moving forward. I don't know if I would call them the best team in the NFC yet, just because I think the Packers are slightly better than them. Just the Packers played better throughout most of the season compared to Tampa, even though they had the same record at the end of the year. It's just the one thing about Tampa that has kind of been a question mark for me is their offense to a certain extent. I don't think that this Tampa Bay offense has hit its peak yet as far as its performances go. I mean, they did put up 31 points against the Eagles, and I'm not going to slouch on that point, but it just seems like there are moments in some of these games that Tampa plays where they get into these stretches where they just can't get a lot of offensive performance or they can't execute in sometimes significant stretches of the games that they play in. Did this kind of help? Yeah, maybe, but this game is kind of indicative of that point of just this team is just not humming on all cylinders offensively. They're still putting up points, they're still making plays when they need to, but it's just not to the level that I think Tom Brady has for the offense, not what the coaching staff has. It's good enough to win the games, but I don't think that they're comfortable with just certain levels of execution compared to last year because the team offensively last year, I think, played at a higher level throughout large stretches of the game. This year, it's kind of been a struggle throughout certain stretches of the game. But all in all, Tampa's in a good spot right now. They have another home game going into the divisional round. And to me, Tampa is in the driver's seat as far as their destiny goes. And it really is kind of on the shoulders of Tom Brady moving forward. But if this defense can play inspired like they did against the Eagles, they're going to be a tough out in the NFC playoffs as far as I'm concerned.